Hi, my name is Candace Gilmore and I'm a student at Concordia University. Today, I'm going to be talking about a myth called the problem with learning styles that I will hopefully debunk. Cindy May, a professor of psychology at the College of Charleston, wrote in her article, The Problem with Learning Styles, in the Scientific American website on May 29, 2018. She looked at a recent review of the scientific literature on learning styles and found scant evidence to clearly support the idea that outcomes are best when instructional techniques align with an individual's learning styles. May states it is clear that people have a strong sense of their own learning preference, less clear that this preference matters. She looked at two researchers, Polly Hessman and Valerie Dean O'Loughlin at Indiana University, who researched athletes' learning styles with a group of students taking an anatomy class. Their focus, though, was not on the teacher's teaching style and how she was addressing those learning styles, but instead on how students were addressing their learning styles in their own studying. This is odd because most of the time when it comes to learning styles, we usually look at it from the teacher's point of view of how they're using it within their classroom. But yet, these two researchers came at it, are the students even using them? They found that given the prevailing belief that learning styles matter and that the fact many students blame poor academic performance on the lack of a match between their learning style and the teacher's instructional methods, one might expect students to rely on the techniques that support their personal learning preferences when working on their own. Yet, 70% of students failed to employ study techniques that supported these preferences. Of the third students who did study strategies, their study strategies aligned with their preferred learning styles, their scores were no better in the lecture or lab component of the class. They found that the problem wasn't students were using their preferred learning styles, but that students were adopting strategies that simply did not support comprehension or retention of the information. It didn't matter if they were using what kind of style they preferred or liked, but that the fact they were using a strategy that would not work no matter what. John Dulosky and his fellow researchers wrote in their article in the Journal of Psychology Science in the Public Interest in 2013 that they had found the exact same findings within their group of students that they researched and studied. Benedict Carey, the author of How We Learn, wrote in 2014 that he would argue how we feel while we're studying, where we are, and what we see and hear are bigger variables than actually what we're doing to study. So is it truly important the learning style we use and what we're doing while we're studying, or where we are, what we hear, feel, etc.? Mays found that cognitive science had already identified methods where students were more successful because they spaced out their study sessions over time, experienced the material in multiple modalities, tested themselves on material as part of their study process, and elaborated on material to make meaningful connections rather than engaging in activities that involve simple repetition of information. I can think back to my own study sessions in high school, college, where I would go the night before, stay up all night, reading the book, doing flashcards over and over and over. Can I tell you any of the information I was trying to learn then? No, because I didn't learn it. Carey explains exactly why. The author of How We Learn says that every memory has a storage strength that is built up steadily with studying more sharply with use. Not with looking at it more and more, but with use. When students simply repeat information, they are not sharply using the information and not building the storage strength, which in turn will diminish the retrieval strength or the ability to bring that negative information back to mind. Dunlosky found that practice testing and distributing practice received high utility assessments because they benefited learners of different ages and abilities, and have been shown to boost students' performance across many criterion tasks and even in educational context. Mays is suggesting, why do we persist then that the belief that learning styles matter and ignore those tried and true techniques? Overall, I think Mays is getting a bigger picture here with debunking this myth. I agree with Mays. I think this is a myth that is debunked. I do not think as a teacher I need to inventory every single student to find out what kind of learning style they prefer so that I can make sure they're getting that one learning style, but instead incorporate all of them into my lessons, studying, and activities in order to allow students to not only learn and process in different ways, but to allow them to build retrieval strength as they produce it in different ways. There are many different learning styles, but I think Maze is right. How they learn, how they produce it is not as important as being able to produce it and to learn it, and using all those styles to do so. Thank you, and I hope from hearing this, the next time you hear about a new educational big thing that will revolutionize teaching, that you stop and think a little bit more critical about how its usefulness within the classroom before implementing it. Thank you.